Welcome back. We are going to the next chapter. It deals with protein and amino acid metabolism. First of all, we begin with the digestion and absorption of proteins. Our diet contains a lot of proteins. Fish contains protein, meat contains protein, egg and milk, and also vegetable materials such as peas, etc. All of them contains protein. And you know that proteins are ultimately made up of amino acids. Amino acids join together by means of peptide bond. This is the amino nitrogen of an amino acid. This is the carbonyl carbon of an amino acid. When the amino acids join together to form proteins, this NH and COH react together. You see, this bond formed between this carbon and this nitrogen is actually the peptide bond. And what is digestion? Digestion is the breakdown of this peptide bond. It is the enzymatic breakdown of this peptide bond. Actually, the reaction takes place in the backward direction in this diagram. Now, how is it taking place and where is it taking place? You see, digestion of proteins actually begin in the stomach. In the stomach, there is an enzyme called a pepsin. This pepsin is maximum active at the pH of 2 to 3, and while above a pH of 5 it is quite inactive. And you may be wondering how this pH of 2 to 3 is maintained, because there is something called hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid is produced in the stomach, by which glands? Gastric glands. So the hydrochloric acid produced by the gastric glands in the stomach actually bring down the pH to about 0.8 pH of stomach contents. But the fact is that ultimately the pH is maintained to 2 to 3 because of the secretions of the non-oxyntic glandular cells of the stomach, so that ultimately the pH is optimum for the activity of pepsin. That's how the optimum pH is maintained. Another property of pepsin is that it is most suitable to digest collagen. What's collagen? Collagen is an albuminoid type of protein, and it is not at all digested by the other digestive enzymes. Collagen cannot be digested by the other digestive enzymes. And digestion of collagen is a prerequisite for the digestion of the other types of proteins in the meat, etc., which is present in our diet. So that also is very much important. So if there is a lack of pepsin in our stomach, maybe sometimes because of genetic reason, etc., then the ingested meat will not be that much digested and will lead to other problems. Okay. Now this is an outline of the digestion of proteins. First of all, in the stomach, the proteins are acted upon by pepsin. Actually, pepsin is produced as an inactive proenzyme called pepsinogen. This pepsinogen is later activated to pepsin by means of the hydrochloric acid, etc. It is not shown here. I will show you that later. So proteins are acted upon by pepsin to break them down into proteases and peptones and polypeptides, and only that much is taking place in the stomach. Then the stomach contents are moving on to the small intestine, where these are broken down into polypeptides and amino acids. How? By means of the trypsin, chymotrypsin, carboxypeptidase, proelastase, etc. Remember, trypsin is produced as trypsinogen, chymotrypsin is produced as chymotrypsinogen, and carboxypeptidase is produced as procarboxypeptidase. So all these are actually produced in the inactive form initially, and thereafter they are being activated by the conditions of the stomach. So they are digesting the proteins or the proteases and the peptones and the polypeptides into polypeptides and amino acids, which are later acted upon by peptidase enzymes in the small intestine, and finally amino acids are produced. Now let us see in detail. You see, most of the protein digestion occurs in the duodenum and jejunum. Duodenum, jejunum and ileum are the three parts of the small intestine. Of this, most of the protein digestion occurs in the duodenum and jejunum. And the enzymes are coming from the pancreatic juice. And I already told you these enzymes. See, trypsin and chymotrypsin split the proteins into small polypeptide. What is carboxypeptidase, you know? This carboxypeptidase is removing individual amino acids from the carboxylate. That is why we call it carboxypeptidase. Okay. What shall we call an enzyme if it is removing amino acids from the amino end? We will call them aminopeptidase. We have not yet seen it. Okay. And proelastase is converted into elastase. Remember, proelastase is in the inactive form. It is a zymogen, and it is activated into elastase, which digest elastin fibers present in the meat. So if the elastin is not digested, then the meat particles are still remained bonded together, and that is further digestion will not be that much easy. Okay. Only a small percentage of the proteins are digested into amino acids by the enzymes of the pancreatic juice. The remaining proteins are in the form of dipeptides and tripeptides. Okay, coming further down, digestion of peptides by peptidases in the enterocytes that line the small intestinal villi. You know that our intestine, small intestine is having projections called villi. We will come to such a diagram, then you will understand. You see, this is the small intestine. This is the lumen of the small intestine through which the food is moving, and the inner wall layer is projected into the lumen of the small intestine in the form of finger shaped projections, and these finger shaped projections are called villi. These villi are further having foldings and projections. We call them microvilli. So villi and microvilli, and come back. You see two types of peptidase enzymes. Before that, digestion of peptides by peptidases. You see, last stage of the protein digestion occurs by the enterocytes. Just now we found the villi. These enterocytes are actually forming the lining of the villi of the small intestine. I mean, the villi are actually formed of enterocytes. These enterocytes are forming the brush border, just like the brush of a toothbrush, just like the bristles of a toothbrush. They consist of hundreds of microvilli, and in the membrane of each of the microvilli, multiple peptidases protrude through the membrane into the lumen of the alimentary canal. On the membrane of this microvilli, so many peptidase enzymes are protruding into the lumen of the alimentary canal, and when the food materials rich in proteins is passing through this lumen, the enzymes are acting upon them. Which are the enzymes? Peptidases, aminopolypeptidase and dipeptidase. What's an aminopeptidase? Aminopeptidase is breaking down the peptides at the amino terminal end, so that amino acids are released from the amino terminal of the peptide chain. While what's a dipeptidase? A dipeptidase is breaking down dipeptide into two individual amino acids. So now finally amino acids and dipeptides and tripeptides are formed, and they are transported through the microvillar membrane to the interior of the enterocyte, to the interior of the cell which are lining the small intestine. So amino acids are absorbed, dipeptides are absorbed, and tripeptides are absorbed. But remember, a small amount of amino acids individually are also absorbed. It's already mentioned here. Amino acids plus dipeptides plus tripeptides are easily absorbed. And finally, inside the cytoplasm of the enterocyte, again peptidases are there, and they are specific for the remaining bonds between the amino acids. Finally, the dipeptides and tripeptides are completely broken down into the individual amino acids in the cytoplasm of the enterocytes. In the cytoplasm of the enterocytes, the dipeptides and tripeptides are finally being digested. Okay, and thereafter these absorbed amino acids are moving on to the other side of the enterocyte so that they can be transported into the blood. Okay, now let us see how this absorption is taking place. This is the lumen of the alimentary canal. Where is the enterocyte? These cells which are lining the alimentary canal is called a enterocyte. Into their cytoplasm are the products of absorption transported. And you see, this is the anatomy of the villus. It is lined by a layer of cells. Inside that one you can see blood vessels are there in the form of arteries, and then they are joined together to form the veins. This is the capillaries of the blood vessels. Here you can see something which is not labeled in the diagram. It is labeled. They are actually lacteals. They are meant for the absorption of lipids. We have studied that earlier. Let us see a cross section. In a cross section you can see the lacteal in the center, and arterioles, the branches of the arteries on the left side in the red color, and venules, the branches of the veins, the ultimate branches of the veins, the venules on the right side in the blue color. And we can see the basement membrane around them. It is this basement membrane that we see here, basement membrane. And then we can see the cells. These are all the cells which are lining this alimentary canal, and this entire structure forms actually the brush border. Okay, let us see this structure important in absorption of digested amino acids and peptides. Where is the lumen? The lumen is here. Lumen is here. This is the brush border. Here is the blood supply. Lumen is here. Absorption is taking place in this direction. Actually, transport proteins are there. Transport proteins are important in the absorption of amino acids because it is sodium co-transport. Let us go to the section of sodium co-transport. Absorption of chloride ions, but yes, absorption of nutrients, absorption of fat, monosaccharides, yes, absorption of proteins. Proteins are absorbed through the lumen surface into the intestinal epithelial cells. And how is it taking place? It is taking place by means of a sodium co-transport mechanism across the membrane of the alimentary canal. How is this co-transport occurring? Peptide or the amino acids molecule bind with the cell's microvillus membrane with a specific transport proteins. A feature of the transport protein is that it requires sodium binding also. So sodium is to bind with the transport protein. Amino acid or peptide also is to bind with the transport protein. And actually the transport protein is moving the sodium ions down their electrochemical gradient. From where? From the lumen of the alimentary canal. To where? To the cytoplasm of the cell. When the sodium ions are transported down their electrochemical gradient, along with that one, the amino acid or the peptide also is transported. That's why we call it co-transport, also called secondary active transport. And a few of the amino acids do not require this system, and they are transported by means of special membrane transport proteins. by means of facilitated diffusion. Remember, at least 5 types of transport proteins are identified for the transport of amino acids and peptides. Remember all those things in your mind. And can we see some more diagrams? No more. So the diagram which you can see here is this one. From the lumen, so by means of sodium co-transport mechanism, amino acids and peptides are transported here. Here sodium is transported by means of co-transport mechanism.